Hey there, I'm Frank Mitchell. On this channel, it's all about helping you understand your car and keeping it running the way it should. Whether it's routine maintenance or solving those tricky problems, I've got you covered. If you find this useful, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to watch till the end. You might learn something that saves you time and money. All right, let's get started.
The C segment is one of the most demanded in the market. Compact cars are very versatile since they have dimensions halfway between a utility and a sedan, so they are comfortable both in urban areas and on long trips. Today we face three models that, despite being in the same segment, are very different from each other, both for their country of origin and for the engines they use or the technology they make available to the driver, are the Renault Mégane, the Toyota Corolla and the Ford Focus. Renault Mégane. We start with the Renault Mégane, the model that has been on the market the longest of these three cars since the current generation of the Mégane was launched in 2016, however, now in 2020 receives a profound update both mechanical and aesthetic. It is also the most economical of our three protagonists since it has a starting price of €20,675, although with Carwow you can get an average savings of €7,223 in all versions and engines. Currently the Renault Mégane offers diesel and gasoline engines and dual-clutch automatic transmission systems. There is also a sports version called Mégane RS that reaches 270 or 300 horsepower depending on the variant chosen. With these mechanicals the Renault Mégane gets the C label of the DGT, but it is expected that throughout 2020 will incorporate a plug-in hybrid variant available only for the family body, which will allow you to get the zero label of the DGT. One of the mechanical curiosities of the Renault Mégane is the possibility of having a four-wheel steering system in the sportier versions. In this way, the rear axle wheels turn for or against the front wheels to reduce the steering angle or improve stability depending on the speed at which the vehicle is being driven. The habitability is one of the strengths of the Mégane, since despite having a rather contained size offers a very correct interior space and a cargo volume of 384 liters and thus exceeds both the Ford Focus and Toyota Corolla. The infotainment system has a curious vertical screen layout and the latest update of the model incorporates some technological elements, such as digital instrumentation or adaptive cruise control with steering guidance. Toyota Corolla. From the oldest to the youngest we go to the Toyota Corolla, a new generation model that replaces the Toyota Auris and maintains its ecological character since all versions are hybrid and get a reduced consumption and the ECO label of the DGT. To get these hybrid mechanics the Toyota Corolla is the most expensive of our comparative today, has a starting price of €26,350, which significantly exceeds the entry-level versions of the Ford Focus and Renault Mégane. Luckily with Carwow offers you can get an average savings of €6,557 in all versions and engines of this compact Japanese hybrid. In addition, we must also take into account the fuel and cost savings achieved by the hybrid system of this Toyota Corolla. There are two engines available that have a power of 122 and 180 horsepower, both are conventional hybrid systems so they do not need to connect to the mains to recharge the batteries, since these have a reduced capacity and are recharged with energy recovery during deceleration. These systems combine a heat engine with an electric motor, so that at certain times the Corolla can drive with the heat engine completely off, which reduces emissions and consumption and obtains the ECO label from the DGT. Unlike its two rivals, the Toyota Corolla is offered with three different body styles and not just two. We have a 5-door hatchback type, another 4-door sedan and a family one called Touring Sports. The standard equipment is also very generous and more complete than what we can find in both the Ford Focus and the Renault Mégane. So in this section the Corolla also partly justifies its price premium. Ford Focus. The option with the best dynamic behavior of the comparative is undoubtedly the Ford Focus, since it has a very successful tuning of its chassis. This is the fourth generation of one of the most emblematic models of the American firm and has been on the market since 2018. The starting price of the Ford Focus is €20,200, but this time the savings we can get with Carwow offers is about €5,000. On average, depending on the engine and version chosen. The section of the mechanicals is somewhat terse to not currently have hybrid or electrified versions, but we have one of the most effective and efficient 3-cylinder engines on the market. We speak of the 1.0 EcoBoost. It is important to note that hybrid engines will be incorporated throughout 2020. A sporty ST version is also available, with a 280 horsepower 4-cylinder engine that takes full advantage of all the dynamic qualities offered by the Ford Focus chassis. The aesthetic language of the Ford Focus clearly reminds us of other recent releases of the brand of the oval, such as the Ford Puma or the renewed Ford Kuga. This makes the roofline has a remarkable fall, but maintains a correct habitability in the rear seats. Conclusion. We are facing 3 tremendously competitive models, since with the same name or others have several years in the compact segment, and are well aware of the needs of drivers who choose these vehicles. If we want balance, comfort and habitability, the most recommended option is the Renault Mégane, probably also the most affordable. If the ECO label is a priority, it is clear that the Toyota Corolla, a model that greatly improves on the previous Urus. The most dynamic option is the Ford Focus, which has convinced us with its driving feel and bold exterior aesthetics.